Hey, it's time for TV Skywriter.
Greetings, everybody. Welcome to TV Skywriter. This is the local edition where I talk to people from Durham and Hillsborough, Chapel Hill, whatever. Today, I'm speaking to a fellow Durhamite. You will recognize her as soon as you see her, Nnenna Freelon. She's working on a really important project called the Clothesline Muse. I got to see the preview at the Durham Arts Council, I guess it was a couple years ago. So Nnenna is here to talk about its progress and the fundraising campaign as well. Welcome to the show, Nnenna Freelon.
Oh, it's a wonderful pleasure to be here. It's good to be here in the sky.
There you go. There you go. So I got to see a preview, and I don't know if it has changed since then. So can you tell us what the Clothesline Muse is all about?
Sure. 2 years ago, we did a preview at the Durham Arts Council. It was actually a fundraiser for the Arts Council. And it was a wonderful chance to help the Arts Council out and let our community know what we're doing. And it's a play that talks about women's work. It talks about the kinds of conversations we used to have at the clothesline. You remember the clothesline where we used to pin clothes up after we washed those clothes by hand? And so it's an evening of dance, music, original music, projections. We're just telling stories all night long. We're telling stories like Grandma and Mama used to tell.
Yeah, when I saw it, I hadn't seen anything quite like it. I hadn't seen so many different art forms in one piece before.
Yes. It's a collaboration. The three collaborators are my daughter, Maya Freelon Asante. Many of you may know her. She's a wonderful artist. And her mother-in-law, Kariamu Welsh, who is the chair of the dance department at Temple University. She's our choreographer. We have 6 dancers. We have wonderful historic projections. We now have new music from the last time you saw it. We have brand new music. We have brand new projections. We have a new set design. We have new dances. So we are just thrilled. I think pieces like this grow. It's kind of like having a baby. You know, you're pregnant for a while, then you have the baby, and the baby grows up. So this baby is continuing to grow, and we are just thrilled with the progress.
So whose idea was this? I think it was a very creative idea to unearth stories that we probably thought were forgotten. Was this your idea?
No, it was not just my idea. I'll tell you how the idea happened. We have to go back about 5 years. And Mama Kay had created a dance called the Clothesline Muse. It was a 5-minute dance performance. And my daughter Maya created these wonderful tissue quilts that the dancer danced with. It was a solo dance. It was such a great response from this dance that we started to dream about Mama Kay and Maya. We call her Mama Kay, Kariamu. Started to dream about collaborating on bringing this idea to a full-length production, to a full evening-length work. And they reached out to me. I was, of course, very excited about the idea of writing music to support a theatrical project. You know, we complain a lot about the way we are depicted in mainstream media. You hear a lot of comment and you know, just thought about how others depict us. This is an opportunity for us to tell our own stories. And I think you never really get the full depth and breadth of a people until they start telling their own stories in their own way. And that's what we're trying to do.
Exactly. I like that idea. Now, the Clothesline Muse, is it continuously changing, or is the version that we will see at the National Black Theater Festival in a couple of weeks, will that be the final version?
That's an excellent question. You know, you have to be an obedient servant to the piece that you're creating. Sometimes the piece says, I'm finished, and you keep soldiering on and mess it up. And other times it says, I'm not finished. And you have to sort of listen to what the piece wants. I'm glad you brought up the National Black Theater Festival. That is a high watermark for us, that we've been selected. Here we are, a small production company here in Durham, and our play has been selected for the National Black Theater Festival. That is huge, a huge honor.
Nice.
So we are taking our band of merry theatrical people to Winston-Salem, August 7th and 8th. We have 2 performances on those days, 4 performances total, 3 and 8 p.m. on August 7th and 8th. So we're just thrilled, really thrilled about it. Those people who saw the preview, the snippet at the Durham Arts Council are going to have the opportunity to see a fully realized work. What we showed at the Durham Arts Council was a snippet. It was a part. It was not the entire piece. We have a 90-minute show with music, dance, and projections that we're gonna premiere for the first time at the National Black Theater Festival.
Wow. So may I ask you a question about how this is performed? Is it completely scripted? I know some shows there's a little bit of improv in there and a little give and take, but is it thoroughly and completely scripted?
That is a really great question. We have a script. You know, it's a musical, really. We have a script. But because I am an improvisational human being, there is always going to be reacting to the moment and being responsive to the moment. We have a wonderful, I play the role in the play, I play the role of Grandma Blue, an 80-year-old laundress who wants to share her legacy with her granddaughter. Tiana West, a very talented singer and actress who lives in Raleigh, is playing my granddaughter, Mary Mack. And Mary, like many of our young people, is not interested in old stories from back in the day. She is online as well. Grandma Blue is online in her way, and Mary is online in her own way. We have a tagline for our project. Before we were online, there was the clothesline. And so part of what we want to do is stimulate this intergenerational conversation. We've become so plugged in to our little worlds with our social media and our music listening devices that the art of conversation, the art of story sharing is becoming lost.
I agree with you, because I don't know how many people sit around with their grandparents anymore and listen to those stories over and over and over again. I mean, we grew up listening to our grandparents' stories, and I hope that people are still doing that. Do you think they are?
Well, I think we're doing it less and less, because the stories that the muse of the younger generation is Facebook, it's Instagram, it's Snapchat. They are using those social platforms as their muse. That's where they get their inspiration from. But we really need to share stories across the generations. There's something Grandma knew that the young people need to know. Not so that they can relive it, but so that they will have some roots to go along with their wings.
Well, maybe if people see the clothesline muse, they'll start realizing that there are stories buried in their families that they might want to unearth and talk about and enjoy.
Absolutely.
Maybe
Absolutely.
even cry over. Some stories aren't discussed because the grandparents don't want us to know certain things. And those should be heard too.
True. I mean, we've heard, we do talkbacks at the end of these performances, and some people have said things to us, I wish I had had a chance to talk to Aunt so-and-so or Grandma so-and-so before she passed. This is a very important point to make. We have a limited amount of time to get the family legacy, to get it recorded, to get it passed along in an oral history way. Because at some point when grandma passes away, you can't ask those questions anymore. You can't find out what happened to so-and-so, or how did we get here, or what was the migration like back in the 30s or the 40s. Mm-hmm. And so hopefully the Clothesline Muse, with its mundane subject matter, hand washing of clothes, drying on the clothesline, that seems very mundane and very everyday, but actually it's a platform for really, really important conversation. How do you comport yourself as a woman? Who's going to tell you those kinds of stories that can help inform how you want to live your life if you don't listen to, your elders?
I like that. I like that a lot. Now, Nnenna, you do have an Indiegogo campaign. Could you explain what it's for? Because I know you're having it, but I'm not quite sure what it's about.
Well, this is a project with a lighting director and a sound designer, and we had to go into the studio to record the music. There are 6 dancers, it's choreographer, lighting, tech. All of these things cost money. We are not funded. There is no big Hollywood person who is funding all of this. We are doing all of this 40 acres and a mule, grassroots style. So we're doing an Indiegogo campaign. Some of you may be familiar with that, some of you may not. But it's a democratic way of fundraising. Mm-hmm. You put out there on social media that you have a need, and you create a campaign. You explain to people what you're doing. And if people think it not robbery, they click on the link and give you a little piece of something to help you. It's kind of like, I remember when I graduated from high school, and they brought all the high school graduates up to the front of the church and gave us all, but this is the summer before we're to head to college. And the mothers of the church pressed little dollar bills into our hand along with the Bible. Mm-hmm. And wished us well. It wasn't much, but it was so sweet and so warm to know that the community that you come from cares about what happens to you when you leave them. And so that's what, this is a social media version of that kind of experience. The people who love and have enjoyed Nnenna Freelon as a singer, the people who have enjoyed and loved Maya Freelon Asante as an artist and have watched her grow up in this Durham community, the people who have seen the Clothesline Muse and know the importance of telling our own stories, here's an opportunity for you to be a part of the creation. And we've gotten donations from as little as $10 to as many as $1,000. And what's great about that is that with each little bit, you create something that makes this possible. It's not possible always to get the kind of funding that you need for the projects that you believe in. But this Indiegogo campaign will give us that chance to really make this happen.
So is there a deadline that we should worry about?
There is a deadline. There is a deadline. Our campaign is a 4-week campaign, and the deadline is July 31st, 2015. That's a blue moon. That's the second full moon in July. People will have until then to support the campaign in whatever way they see fit. And the other thing, Pat, that's really important to recognize is that we get very focused on the ends. So we see what someone has created, but no one really asks, how did we get here? Mm-hmm. Every single thing you see, whether it's a musician, whether it's a performance, there was effort, there were rehearsals, there was money spent, there were resources that were spent in order to make that happen. Mm-hmm. This gives our audience an opportunity to get in on the back end and help to make something really important and really beautiful happen, and feel a sense of pride that they're a part of an amazing community, an amazing community of funders. And we have I think we have about 40 funders so far people who have said, you know what, I want to put my weight behind this because I want to see this happen.
Nice. A link will be provided. I just noticed that Maya just sent me something via email, which is probably the link. I will include it in the description of the show.
Great.
So for those of us who can't go to Winston-Salem, though, to see, to the National Black Theater Festival to see the Clothesline Muse, will it be performed here in Durham as well, like this year, later on?
It will be performed next year in the region. I can't say exactly the dates yet because the contracts haven't been signed, but I guarantee you in 2016, February 2016, we will have dates that are drivable distance from Durham, not as far as Winston-Salem. We really want to bring the project back home so that folks can see what it is that they have invested their time and their energy and their money in.
Mm-hmm. This might be improper to ask. I'll ask it anyway. But not everyone can travel, or not everybody lives in this area who's watching this show.
Yes.
So is there going to be like a movie version or a video version, or is it even a proper question?
Speak that, Pat. I would love it. You know, our big dream is that one day this piece will be playing on Broadway. And in some kind of strange way, another dream is that it will come to a place like DPAC, a huge place with thousands of seats, where people can see this dream writ large on a huge stage. I know that some of the people who are of the generation of the clothesline might not feel so comfortable donating online. And so we also will send you an address where a check could be sent if people feel more comfortable donating in that way.
Okay.
You have a Durham address where people can send checks as well. It's really not so much the money to me as it is knowing that the community that gave birth to you as an artist is behind you 100% in this new adventure.
And I think we are. I definitely think we are. So I want to thank you for being on the show, Nnenna. I know, do you have to go to rehearsal today, or did you already have rehearsal?
I do. I have rehearsal today.
Oh, okay. Before we go, I want to show you something.
Let me see.
This was my great-grandmother's iron. It weighs a ton. They must have really been strong back in the day.
Oh, my goodness. Look at that.
Without this iron, I don't think there would have been a Russell Memorial Church. She was one of the co-founders. Her job was to iron, wash, and she had a back entrance to the house. It was at 612 Carr Street across from American Tobacco, where my great-grandfather worked. Okay. And her job was washing and ironing, usually white people's clothes. This was her job. This is how she raised her family, and this is how they helped found Russell Memorial Church.
Isn't that something? Now, before I go, I just want to give a shout out to all those grandmothers. I want to ask some of the people listening to this Skywriter show to remember the name of their grandmother, their great-grandmother, their great-grandmothers, because this show is for them. One of the things we celebrate in the Clothesline Muse is the 1881 washerwomen's strike in Atlanta, where those sisters shut Atlanta down. Now, you don't know anything about that history, do you? Because it's not taught in school. It's not taught in school. Washing clothes and ironing clothes put food on the table, as you just shared with us. But in 1881, this is before the Civil Rights Movement, this is before Dr. Martin Luther King, this is before Selma. These chicks shut Atlanta down because Atlanta was totally dependent at that time on black women's labor for the washing of clothes. And so they demanded $1, $1 silver dollar, for 12 pounds of laundry, and they formed the first organized, one of the first organized labor protest movement. So that flies in the face of all of the illusions that we have about washerwomen and laundresses as being these educationally backward and politically unsophisticated people. These chicks, they foretold all of the organized, peaceful protests and struggles that we're dealing with right now. So we have a lot to celebrate.
Nice, very nice. Hey, you know about the Rocky Horror, what's it called? Rocky Horror movie show or whatever it's called. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Picture show?
Yeah, it was a participatory show where with certain prompts, people would like throw toilet paper and put up umbrellas.
Oh, yeah.
You should have a prompt where we all bring our old artifacts and raise them in the names of our ancestors.
Well, when you see the play, you're going to see sisters holding up washboards like shields, because these chicks don't play. This isn't one more piece about bending and toiling and sweating. This is about standing up for your rights and raising your family and survival. And I just wish everybody could see it. I really do. It's a celebration. It's not a sad thing. It's not purely a historical thing. We're dancing, we're singing, and we're being who we are.
Nice.
Thank you for giving us a chance to talk about this.
Absolutely. So if you do plan to go to Winston-Salem, you can actually look up, I'll provide the link, but you can go to, nbtf.org to see the schedule of the National Black Theater Festival. Click on where it says purchase a ticket. You won't be actually buying the ticket, but you'll be able to see the schedule. That's on the left-hand side when you go to the website. And also, I will present links to Nnenna Freelon's, the Indiegogo campaign,
Yes.
And your website as well, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. Thanks for being on the show, Nnenna Freelon.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Okay, you too. Okay, folks, that's it for TV Skywriter. This is the local edition. It's available on YouTube and anybody can watch. I just restrict my guests to the Triangle area. If you'd like to be on, you can just write to Durham Skywriter at gmail.com and be sure to read the Durham Skywriter. That's Durham's online community paper at durhamskywriter.com. With that, adieu and ciao for now.
Sun up, sundown, sun up, sundown, sun up, sundown, early in the morning.